Okay, the fifth grade have a test coming up on understanding decimals, reading and writing and comparing them. So we are going to look at the review that was given out will be given out on Monday, November 18th, and just help try to explain some of these questions to the kids. So the first one, it says, fill in the numbers with patterns. So if we have 8/10ths, or hundredths, we start out with hundredths. So these are hundredths, and I'm going to multiply these by 10. So if I multiply 1 by 10, so I'd come out with 8/10ths. So that would be 8/10ths. So I'd write that as 8. So essentially what you're doing is you're moving the decimal place over 1. And if I have if I multiply these 8/10ths by 10, I would get 8 wholes, or 8 flats. Okay, and if I take my 8 flats and multiply those by 10, I would get 8 cubes. And so on that one, it would be 80. Okay, move the decimal place over 1. Then one more spot would be 800. So main thing, just move the decimal place over 1, trying to understand it wise. If this was a hundredth, it's going to take 100 of those to equal one of the wholes, or a flat. So those are the phase 10 blocks wise. So now we're going to work backwards with dividing 9,000. So if I had to cut out 9,000 and cut it down, divide by 10, so I'm going to move the decimal place over to 900, and then move it over again to 90. So if we'll use this as the 1 block, this time the cube. So if I cut this 9 of these down and I cut them 10 different ways, I'm going to have a flat. So that would be 0.9, because it's going to take 10 of these to make 1 whole. Okay. And then last, so I need to move it over 1 more, it would be 0.09. So I'm going to need 10 of these to get to my tenths, and 10 of my tenths to get to my 1. So if this was 1, this would be 0.1 and 0.01. And then I could also go 0.001. So it's going to take 1,000 of these to make my whole. It's going to take 100 of these, and it's going to take 10 of these to make my whole. So tenths, 100th, 1,000 to make my 1. Okay. Next, what do I need to times to get 8 whole? We're doing relationships to the power of 10 now. So I know it has to be smaller than 8. I saw some of the answers today, and they were bigger than 8. So they were just doing 8 times 10. So what's smaller than 8 that will give me 8? So the inverse operation would be to divide. So I divide my 1, if I had 8 of these, and I divided it, I would have a 10 times, I would have a tenth. So I know that my answer is going to be 8/10ths. So if I multiply this by 10, move the decimal place over 1 spot, I'm going to get 8. So what you could say we were just starting here at 8, and then we're moving the decimal place over backwards 1, because I need to get a smaller number. If I moved it to the right one, it'd be 80. So I need to get a smaller number, so it's going to be 0.8, and take that 0.8 times 10, it'll give me my 8. So the same things. What do I need? I'm going to start out with 80, and I need to try and get a smaller number, 10 spots. So times it by 10. So I'm going to get 8 times 10 would give me 80. So I started off with 80, decimal place right there, and I'm going to multiply. So inverse of multiplication is division. Divide by 10. So divide, and I get 8. Same thing here. 0.8. Divide by 10. So if I need to get smaller. If I went to the right, that'd get bigger. That'd be 8. So it's going to be over here, so 0.08. So I start at 0.08, and I need to divide by 10. So it's going to be 0.008, or 8 thousandths. And down here, I have 800. And I need to divide, get smaller, 80. So 80 times 10, 800. Next, we have Noah lifts weights at the gym. He rounds to the nearest thousands. Or round to the, sorry, I'm trying to do too many things at once. Round to the nearest whole number. So I'm going to round 22.8 to the nearest whole number. What I tell them to do is underline what you're rounding to, draw an arrow. It's above, so we're going to raise the score. So it's going to be 23, so that would be correct. The next one, we're going to draw an arrow. So that one's going to go to 24, so that would not be correct. 22.5, we draw the arrow to the 5. 5 are above, we raise it, so it's going to be 23. 23.075, underline the 3, draw an arrow to the 0. It's a 0, so we're going to let it rest. 4 below, we let it rest, so the 3 is going to rest at 23, so that would be a good answer. The next one, 22.1. So it's going to draw arrow to the 1. Let it rest, 22, that's not good. So it's going to stay 22. The last one we'll do over here, a little more room. 23.0, draw arrow, 0, so let it rest, 23, so that's a good answer. Okay, rounding decimals. Eli likes to run 5 miles each day. Round to the nearest tenth on this one. And if it remains 5.5, we're going to circle the answer if it rounds to 5.5. So once again, nearest tenth, underline the tenth, draw a line to the hundredth. So that one would be 5.6. So that is not a good answer when you're rounding to the nearest tenth. So I always underline that whatever we're rounding to. Rounding to the nearest tenth, underline the tenth. So let it rest. So it's going to be 5.5. That is a good answer. 5.49, tenth, round up, 5.5. 5.539. Let it rest, so 5.5 is a good answer because the 3 is not above, so that's good. E, 5.513. Underline my tenth, so it is 5.5 again. 4.5, well, since we're rounding to the nearest tenth, I know there's no way it'd be 4.6, so that's not a good answer because I need 5.5. So if I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, I'm not going to get anything above 5.5 on that one. So those two are out. Next, we're looking at the powers of 10. So the easiest way to do it is count the number of zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be 10 to the 6. Another way you can do it is just look at 10 times 10. How many times would give you 10,000? So this one, just count the zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll work this one out. So 10 times 10 equals 100. 100 times 10 equals 1,000. And 1,000 times 10 equals 10,000. So if you look how many tens I used 10 times 10 is 100. 100 times another 10 equals 1,000. And 1,000 times my fourth 10 what equals 10,000. So that's where I get my 10 to the fourth. Okay, 10 to the fourth power. So exponent form. So we're going to do something, write in the missing power of 10 in each equation. write your answers in the blank. So I'm starting at 0.09 and I need to get to 90. So I'm starting here and I need to get to all the way to right here. I need to get to 90, the whole number, okay? So I need, how many places do I need in my decimal point? So if I take 9 thousandths times 10, I get hundredths, then tenths, then the whole number, then 90. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be 10 to the 4th. Okay, so that was 0.009. Move it over 4 spots. 1, 2, 3 would be just 9, and then 4 would be 90. Next, I'm starting at 0.6, and I need 6. So that's just times 10, or 10 to the 1st. All right, then I have 0.08, and I need to get to 800. So I need to get to here. So I'm going to multiply times 1, 2, 3, 10 to the 3rd. Next, I have 0.03, and I need to get to 3 as a whole number. So it's going to be 10 squared. I start at 0.23, or 23 hundredths, and I need to get to 23,000. So I need to get all the way to here. So I move it over 1 spot, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 to the 5th. Okay. Next, writing numbers. So they were having problems with this one too. A lot of people today. We know if there's an and. When we see an and, we know there's going to be a whole number and a part of a number. So it's going to be a fraction of a number anytime we see and. So if we do not see and, like in this one, it's only going to be either all of a whole number or part of the fraction. It's not going to be both, since there's no and. So the first one, 23. So my 23 is the whole number. The and indicates my decimal is going to go there. 24 thousandths. So that's where I need to end. So I know on a decimal place, I have my tenths in the first. I have my hundredths. And then I have my thousands. So I need to end in the thousands. So I know I need to end here with my 4. So I'm going to put my 4 there. And I know that since it's 24, I'm going to put my 2 and the hundredths. So that's 24 thousandths. So I still need to put something in the tenths. So I'm going to annex a 0 there. So now I have 23 and 24, and it ends in the thousandths place. Next, 104, 104, and 3 thousandths. So my 3 is going to be there. I have 0 hundredths and 0 tenths. So that's going to go there. 1,306. 1,306. It's only no and, so it's only a whole number. So only the full number. 11 thousandths. This is the other one. No and. This is only a whole number. This one's only a part of a number. So I know it needs a decimal. I can put a 0 there, just a placeholder for my 0. And I need to have 11 in the thousand. So I need to end in the 3rd decimal place. 11 thousandths, but I need to put something in the tenths. So it's not 11 hundredths. If I didn't have that 0 there, it'd just be 11 hundredths. But I need 11 thousandths. So I need to put my 0 there, 11 thousandths. Next, we have 34 and 9 hundredths. 34 and hundredths is right there. is 9, so 0/10. Next, decide if each expression represents the decimal 9.023 or 9 and 23 thousandths. So the first one, we're just breaking down this number, 9, and if I add 23 hundredths, it's not going to give me, I'm missing the 0 and the tenths, so that's not going to work. This, if I break it down, I have the 9 and I have the 23 thousandths, so that would work. So this one's breaking it down even further. I have the 9 again, I have the 2 from the hundredths, and I have the 3 from the thousands. So this broken down again will work. And this one is 2 in the tenths, so that one's not going to work. This one, 9 times 1 is 9. 2 times 100th equals 2 hundredths, and 3 times 1,000 equals 3,000, and that is exactly like C. When I add those together, that will work. So E is a good one. Let's look at F. 9 times 1 is 9. 2 times a tenth would be 2 tenths, and 3,000. So when I add those, it's going to give me 2 tenths instead of 0 tenths, so I know that's not a good answer. Fill in the blank comparing decimals. The biggest thing to do with comparing decimals is align them. So we'll start here with 0.4, 4.5, and 4.05. So the first thing I'm going to do, the 4s are the same, so the whole pieces are the same. This one, I have 5, and at 0, the 5 is bigger than the 0, so I know 4.5 is greater than 4 5/100ths. So this one's 23 holes, and this is 2 holes. So now it's greater than 657 thousandths. So those are equal, the same. You start the tenths, hundredths, thousandths are all the same. This one, 63 whole pieces are the same. I have 2 tenths and 0 tenths, so the tenth is going to be higher. I have 23 hundredths on both sides, so those are equal. It doesn't matter how many zeros I put after these, it's going to be equal. Okay. 9 and the tenths, so start in the tenths, that's the biggest number. Tenths, same. Hundredths, the 5 is bigger. 10 whole compared to not even 1 whole, so the 10 is going to be bigger. So next we're going to put some distances from furthest to shortest, so the highest number. So what I would probably do is put them down here and line up the decimal place. What you could also do is just add a 0 to keep them all aligned perfectly with the right numbers. I just won't write that down when I write it up top. So we're at the furthest. So I'm going to put the biggest number. So the 6s are all the same. The highest number I know I have 3 7s. So those are going to be the biggest, but only one of the 7s have a 9. And the hundredths, the tenths were all 7ths, so these 3. The 10th, I have 1 9, so that's going to go first. The next one, I have a 0 and an 8, so I'm going to go with the 8. That is bigger than the 0. And 6.7. So now I'm done with all the, whoa, did I miss one? So I have a 6.701 down here. So that is actually going to be bigger than the 6 point. So on that one, I looked at the 6 and the whole number's the same, the tenth's the same, the hundredth's the same, the thousandths is bigger for the 1. So the 1's going to go there. Next, we go to the 2 and the tenths. So this one has both have 2 in the tenths. That's 0, so that's smaller. This one has a 9 in the hundredths, so that's going to be bigger. Do not need to put the 0 there. Then my other one that is the 2 in the tenths is the 4. And the last one with the 0 in the tenths would go in there. So now those are in order. Next, Samuel draws a model that shows 6 hundredths and 6 tenths. what equation represents the relationship between these numbers. So first, let's look. We're going from, let's make this a tenth. Oh, actually, since they did that, this is a hundredth. And so I'm going from a small to a big, a small to a big. I know I need to multiply. So I'm going to cross out my division already. And then I just need to see which number am I multiplying. So it's only one step away. So if I move the decimal place over 1, so it's only going to be 1/10. So I know that it's going to be a 10 instead of 100. If it was 2 decimal places away, it would be the 100. So since I'm only moving it from 0.06 to 0.6, I know if I take this times 10, I will get the 6/10. So you can also look, so there's one of those for one of those. So there's going to be times it by 10. So I'm going to have 6 of them over here and 6 of them over there. So that's it. That's all the review. The test is pretty much exactly the same. My students told me I need to add this to the video at the end. You need to like and subscribe to my videos. So they want me to go viral with these videos, but just like and I think that's what they said, like and become a subscriber. Also, if your kid needs tutoring, we also offer tutoring, some teachers here that offer tutoring. So you want to email me if they need extra help, you can email me. My email is hiring, HEURINGD @msdr9.org. And I'll put that up on the front again. If you would like some extra tutoring, myself and I know some extra people that can offer you some tutoring. So if you would like that. So that's it. Study up for the test. Make sure you understand what it is and how to do it. So good luck.